With Gerard Campbell from stuff.co.nz. He's the Game Junkie there, and Game Junkie NZ on Twitter. Morning, Gerard.
Morning, Wammo. How are you?
Very good, thank you very much. Sounding sexy on that new headset, broadcasting live from Christchurch.
I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you very much.
First up, big news this morning about the Sony PlayStation Vita launch.
Yeah, it's already launched in Japan, but it's actually launching here. There it is there, next week, 23rd, but all the embargoes have been lifted on reviews of the games and the hardware in our region, which is the European region. So those reviews can all be printed today, and embargoes have lifted. So yeah. And,
now, you just flashed it up there in front of me. What is it though?
What it is, it's a handheld. Clear my throat. It's a handheld console. The Vita is the successor to the PSP Go, which was Sony's last handheld device, which was solely digital download. There was no discs or anything, and the PSP Go was the successor to the original PlayStation Portable, which came out a few years ago. The difference now with the Vita is that it's got a 5-inch screen, so it's got a nice big 5-inch OLED screen. It's touch. It's a capacitive touch screen, so you can do all sorts of lovely pushing and prodding and poking. It's got 2 thumbsticks, which is great for action fans, because with most portable gaming consoles, the big hassle has been that there hasn't been a second analog stick, second thumbstick, so you can't sort of play action games the way that you'd like.
Yeah.
So that's the new addition. It's got all the standard PlayStation buttons and the D-pad, and I think the Vita is going to be using sort of a combination of digital downloading. They're really pushing the digital downloads for the Vita. Excuse me, but you will be able to buy special game discs from retailers. But yeah, they're really doing a push of digital downloading, and sort of if you do go down the digital download path, you're sort of looking at between sort of 500 megabytes and a gig for each game title.
Will they play the old PSP games?
I understand that they will be putting up. Certainly, if you own an old PSP and you've got some old PSP games, it won't play physical ones, because the original PSP used what they called UMDs, which is Universal Media Disc, which is almost like a little mini CD in a case. So it won't play those. But I understand that there is going to be provision on the PlayStation Network to re-download or download some of those original PSP games onto Vita.
Okay.
And it's also using a proprietary format memory card, which you can store, 4 games and download 4 games onto. But yeah, it's as with most proprietary formats, they're sort of going to be a bit pricey to start with. So I'm sure there'll be third-party titles, discs and that coming out for those.
Interesting news this morning. I just saw that that Sony may be thinking about dropping their Android phones in favour of a Vita OS, or OS Vita, I think they call it, for their phones. Of course, because Sony now make a lot of handsets as well. Yeah,
well, I haven't heard that, but the Vita operating system, or the sort of the menu system, it gets rid of the sort of the cross-media bar interface that the PlayStation 3 and the original PSP use, and it's got a more organic interface now. You sort of, when you scroll through the menu screens, you've got like little bubble icons that they sort of wobble, as you scroll through. So it just seems a lot more organic, seems to be a lot more friendly. So that will be very interesting. But I think it's an amazing piece of kit. It's 2 versions. There is a Wi-Fi only, which I think has an RRP of $349, but that will probably vary depending on retailers and how they sort of want to aggressively price it. And there is a 3G and a Wi-Fi model, which is $449. It's not a phone. There's no phone capabilities with it whatsoever. But I think that the big thing for the Vita is it's a great piece of kit, but I think that the big task for Sony will be, in this age of smartphones where, young kids and everyone, you can download pretty good games for a handful of dollars. They're going to have to really market it cleverly to try and convince people that, yes, you do still need a dedicated handheld gaming device.
Exactly.
So that could be an uphill battle, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So yes, that launches here on the 23rd.
The 23rd, okay. Right, tell us who Tim Schafer is and what he's been up to.
Oh, Tim Schafer. He is one of the greatest, well, in my opinion, one of the best game designers of all time. He's the man behind classic PC titles like Grim Fandango and Full Throttle. He also made Brutal Legend on the consoles, which was okay. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
And then he sort of started doing Kinect stuff, Once Upon a Monster and Happy Action Theatre, which are coming for Kinect. So he's a very well respected and well-known game designer. He's done a few Xbox Live arcade titles. But he has for a long time been, I guess, disillusioned with, of course, and Psychonauts. He's made the game Psychonauts, which is very, 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 very good. But he has for a long time been sort of disillusioned with the publishing industry and the fact that often game developers are hampered by the demands of, investors or publishers saying, well, you must complete this by this date, you must have this, you must, we'll only do this. So what he came up with last week is that he announced using, I think it's an American-based fundraising sort of website, I guess, called Kickstarter. And he's announced that he's going to get a small team together and they're going to develop a new game based on a classic point-and-click adventure game using modern graphics technology and those sorts of things. And he's said that if he can raise $400,000, he will make this game. $300,000 for the game, and then $100,000 for a documentary, which is going to be done, following the progress of it.
Yeah.
So he put this up on the Kickstarter website last week, and people you can donate $15, $30, whatever, and depending on how much you donated. If you donated up to 15 to 30, you've got a free copy of the game over Steam when it becomes live. And then the more you donate, you got more. So if you donated $10,000, you got to have dinner with Schafer, and there was only one of that. He was saying he needs to have this $400,000 by 13th of March. Well, less than 24 hours after making the announcement, he'd already raised 800 plus thousand.
Wow.
Yeah,
more than he needs.
Wow. yeah, and I think I haven't checked this morning, but I think it's probably close to 1.5, 1.7 mark at the moment. And while Schafer's not the first developer to have done this sort of thing, because it's a good way for any developers to get funds.
Yeah,
I think that it is probably the first that it's broken records in terms of of how quickly he raised this amount of money.
I think it's also broken records for Kickstarter itself about how much money they've raised within 24 hours across their site.
Oh, definitely. And I think what it probably that the fact that so many people have pledged to this fund, I think because it tells me two things: that people have a lot of faith in Schafer, so they want to have another game from him, another classic game. But I think it also puts faith in that perhaps needs to be a look at changing the model of how games are developed. That that perhaps. Because for a long time, indie developers have avoided having to use publishers, who take part of the profits, who take, part of the revenue and that sort of thing, and gone down that independent route. So perhaps this is creating a new model, whereas it's going to be crowdfunded, it's going to be crowdsourced, it's going to be funded by those people, who want a different type of game. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the end product will be. He's talking about October. So it'll be interesting. And just for the record, I did donate $15 because I think it's a fantastic initiative.
Yeah,
be very interested to see how it goes. Be very interested.
Well, it sounds like it's gathered together a great community, and you sound like you're a fan and you bought into that as well, and that's good.
Oh yes, yeah. We'll see. Maybe a fool, but it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Could take the money and run.
Yes.
And just quickly, just to end on, I had a very quick hands-on at the end of last week with Mass Effect 3. Now, I haven't previously been exposed to any of the Mass Effect games, so the world that I was in for the very quick time I had the hands-on didn't really mean a whole lot to me, but the gameplay was interesting in the use of the Kinect and the voice commands.
Right.
So it's a first-person shooter. You're in a world. You have a bunch of teammates, controlled by the AI, and you can bark out commands. You say the name of the character and tell them what to do, whether move forward or shoot someone or use a particular gun, and they will go off and do that. So I found that quite cool, and you can also change your own gun by just doing voice commands as well. It was cool. I don't know how gimmicky it is, whether or not it actually is really useful. I found it a little bit awkward just sitting there shouting out stuff at the same time.
Right,
so,
yeah.
But maybe if you're in a house on your own and no one's listening, it might be quite fun. I don't know.
Yeah, and obviously it picked up any sort of New Zealand idiosyncrasies pretty well? Or?
No, you had to be very clear. You still had to be very clear about who you were talking to and what you wanted them to do. You had to really enunciate it, Gerard.
Yeah, I mean, I think that things like this, they almost are a bit gimmicky, because, I mean, I think if there's too many frustrations, people will just go straight back to the standard mouse and keyboard or
I think so.
joypad controls, won't they? So, it might be, be like it was probably in Halo Anniversary and those sorts of things. Give it a couple of goes. It's quite neat. But whether you can rely on it for the whole game, that'll be an interesting thing to see. Because I think Mass Effect 3 is due out fairly soon, I think.
I think so, yeah. It did make me want to go back and check out the other games, because, as I say, I've never been exposed to that series before, so I think I'll go back in and have a look anyway, and look forward to the new one coming out. Thanks very much, Gerard.
Indeed. No problem.
At stuff.co.nz, you'll find the Game Junkie blog and Game Junkie NZ on